Good morning, welcome back to my YouTube channel, or welcome to my YouTube channel if you are new here. I have an exciting vlog, more so just because I'm trying to put a lot more effort into the production of it all, so I'm excited about it. But welcome to my vlog where I'm going to take you through my training for my first ever marathon, but second ever marathon training block. And that's a medium length story that you might be able to answer yourself if you just look back through my old videos, particularly the most recent one about my failed marathon. But that is the past. We are in the future. We learn and we adjust, and this is what this video is all about, is how I've adjusted my training from the last time to this time, and how ultimately it is feeling a lot better. And I'll get into all of that later, but I just wanted to do a little introduction. Welcome to Monday morning. I'm about to do my work now. So if you don't know, I've got an activewear brand called Indefinable the Label, the sports bra and the shorts that I wore today on my run and still am wearing now because I've got another session in a couple of hours, so it doesn't feel right to just change. That is from my activewear brand. However, the shorts are not yet launched. The sports bra is. Not that you even saw that. The jacket is just some random jacket. Anyway, that is my business, and I also work for F45 as a coach. This morning's run went well. I actually just checked my splits as well earlier, and I was thinking that I didn't hit my last split time, but I actually did, which is pretty amazing. So, yay. And I feel a bit better about it now. But yeah, I feel good, and my next run will be my long run, but I do have other training, and I will talk about why and what else I'm doing later on. But yeah, otherwise, enjoy the video. I'm gonna get to work. Go, go, go!
So the 2.5 mile warm up, running conditions, fresh. Abilities were not as great as they are today. BPN wasn't as big. And that is for days. That's why I'm in play and hang out with her all day. And a lot of projects that have been extra fun for myself and my leadership.
lunchtime. Okay, let's have a little update, shall we? What I'm doing with my training at the moment is doing a lot of cross training. So I'm running 4 times a week and I'm cross training with cycling, swimming, boxing and weights. I don't really see strength training as cross training. It's not really the way to say it. It's just what I'm also doing in my training to aid my running and to stay strong so that I don't get injured regardless of what I'm training for. So that is what I'm doing. So it's 4 runs, 2 swims, 1 cycle, 2 strength sessions, but one of those is a class that does half boxing, half strength. Boxing is more for fun than anything. Like, I mean, it's obviously you get your heart rate up, so there's a bit of cardio in there, but it's more for like getting some emotions out, if you know what I mean, like a doof doof, yeah, getting some anger kind of emotion out and fun. Doing something different, but still, you know, that cardio element. And then the strength, of course, is, and I like whether the class is upper body focus or full body, whatever, the coach that I usually am coached by in those classes understands that I know what I'm doing and can like change the exercises to a degree, so that I can personalize that a little bit. And then for my other strength session, I just do that on my own, although I do want to try to do F45 strength classes whenever I can. It's just like whether it fits in my schedule, because obviously those are specific days of the week, or I'm working those days, and obviously if I'm working the class I can't be in the class. Anyway, and those swim sessions are pretty like low intensity. I don't do too much speed work. Every now and then like I might want to I throw in a bit, but for the most part it's just really chill swimming. And because it's really low impact on your joints, it's a bit of muscle endurance for the upper body, which is kind of nice because I'm not strength training very much. I do like to keep a strong muscly upper body, so I don't want to lose much muscle. As well as the bike, I'm only doing that once a week for 45 minutes each time. I'm probably never going to change that really, but that's not at all really for muscular endurance. Like it'll be a little bit, but it's mostly just zone 2 training, just for more training, because I want to be able to take the load off my legs a little bit, because running 4 times a week as someone who's not an elite runner, I've just built up to this so far. Like maybe in the future I'll build up to 5 runs a week or something, I don't know. And I've not done double sessions. Well, not in the traditional like normal sense of a double session where you run in the morning, run at night, like intentional sessions. I've done sessions where, and not recently, but I've done something where I couldn't finish my run in the morning for whatever reason, so I just had to finish it at night. But that wasn't an intentional double session. So my entire training is definitely all around the marathon at the moment. And it was kind of like that last time. I wrote and coached, programmed, whatever, all of my training last time and this time as well. And for some background, I am a qualified personal trainer, group fitness instructor. I was practicing for 4.5 years or something, and now I just do group fitness. But obviously there's still personal aspects within that, because especially at F45, that's kind of the whole brand of it, is that it's personal training but in a group setting. So there's a lot of one-on-one time. And then also like I'm still training myself, I suppose. And then I'm also a qualified nutritionist. Not that that has much to do with training, but at least I know my stuff. And I'm qualified as well to coach myself. Not that I'm paying myself, but I'm not coaching others anymore, not in a one-on-one capacity, and I do not coach running. And I am not qualified. I don't know what the qualifications are, if any, out there, but I'm not qualified in any running specific training. I just have knowledge about progressive overload and making progress with, you know, muscle development and losing body fat. And although that is different to this, I can apply the knowledge that I've already had as well as gained from experiencing running and progress, but also the other study that I've done. So just to preface all of this stuff that I'll show you in this video, other videos in the past and future, I am not a running coach and I don't want to be a running coach. I am just a coach that is trying to honestly just challenge myself to coach myself in this new realm for myself. Not new to the world, but you know, in running, I haven't coached anyone with that before, apart from myself. And it's going pretty swell, if I do say so myself. I've gotten faster, and I've also, you know, become better, more efficient at running, because I feel like you can get faster, but it's still just like, it's like the worst slug. But I feel like I've also gotten more efficient. My body engine has gotten more efficient. And I think the biggest game changer from last prep to this prep was, one, being more intentional with my runs. So not just having every run as like a moderate run, like you just go out and no intention with like specific warm-ups or easy pace or tempo pace, or like there's no specific goal or intention with each session. It's just going out there and running 8 kilometers or 20 kilometers or 30 kilometers, whatever it was for that day. You just had the kilometers to get done, and that's it. And there's nothing, or there might not be anything wrong with that for some people, that is getting the kilometers done, and that's what I did, and that's what I've learned. And I ran up to 35 kilometers. That was my longest long run. So I got there. I didn't get there fast necessarily, or speed is subjective, but I think that was like a 15-week training block, I suppose. And prior to that training, I had only run a half marathon once, I believe, or twice. I think once. So that was the biggest thing, is just having more intentions within each of my runs, so that I felt like because I had never done easy runs, well, like not never, because I wasn't consistently and doing more than anything else of easy runs than the, you know, intervals or tempo runs, whatever. I was overexerting myself more often, and then not recovering very well, not well enough to then push really hard in those tempo runs or interval runs. So that biggest thing is more intention with my runs, being strategic about it as well. The second biggest thing of all of this is the cross training and the importance of that. So I've been cross training obviously a lot with swimming, cycling, boxing. So there's pretty much an even split, almost an even split between how many sessions of mine a week are running versus cross training, and then there's a bit of extra strength in there as well. And I'm also seeing a physio every 3 to 4 weeks, I'm pretty sure it is, and doing a sauna after every swim. And I am mostly doing that for, you know, just as like a habit that's kind of nice to decompress. You're not on your phone, but also a bit of heat training, because we are in winter at the moment, so you can't heat train really well in winter. It's like hard to do. So I'm using that as some heat training, because I know as I get closer into summer, I start to struggle, or like on hot days. And today was not hot by any means. It was cold, really chilly at least. It wasn't too windy, to be honest. It was a little windy here and there, but not that bad. Or at least not where I ran. And it was clear skies, not raining at all. Gorgeous actually then. But the sun was out, and although that's gorgeous, it can get really hot, and I tend to like overheat, get a bit anxious, my heart rate gets elevated, and I am overall uncomfortable. That has been the trend in the past. So I'm trying to alleviate those symptoms when things like that happen now, like with the sun, or just, you know, as we get closer to summer. It's just hopefully an easier transition than it had been in the past. I'm also just trying to stretch daily, like not to a perfect degree, but to like pretty decent. Like how much, I need to give myself credit for that. I was about to diss myself and say I'm not stretching enough, but I think I am. I could stretch more, probably, but I think if there was a scale, if there was like a spectrum of what was appropriate amount of stretching, I think I'm within that, maybe on the low amount, but I'm within it. Yeah, that's my recap of my entire training, and the biggest two, it's really those two big things. In regard to the long run that I just had then, I am pretty proud of that, to be honest. I just checked my stats earlier, and I did hit all of my pacings. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. I didn't need to go to the bathroom at all. I didn't need any like big breaks. I had to stop at red lights quite a bit within the first 3-4 kilometers. I had to stop at red lights so I didn't get hit by a car, and then here and there in between, I think I only had to stop once during one of my like speed blocks so I didn't get hit by a car. That was the longest speed block, so I mean it's 5 kilometers, so it's hard to run straight for 5 kilometers sometimes when you're like going through streets. And then yeah, a lot more in those last 4 kilometers of the easy block. But yeah, I actually don't mind stopping now at red lights. I used to hate it. I used to really overthink like, oh, it doesn't count as a run if you stop. Like if you run, oh my God. I used to think that if I stopped on a 10K run, I didn't run 10 kilometers. Like I did run 10 kilometers, but if you stop, even if you you pause your watch, I paused my watch at the lights
so that I know my running time. And then, because it still tells you your elapsed time at the end anyway, and other people can also see it, so I'm not hiding it from anyone. But I still ran the whole distance, and I used to just, be so in my head about it, because I would think, like, care about what others thought of me, and thought that I would be, like, not as much of a runner, or not as worthy in the end, if I just stopped at a red light. Up until only a couple of weeks ago, I would always just run in circles at a red light until I could go again. And I might still do that here and there now, especially on runs where I'm like, I've literally 100 meters in, I'm not going to stop now. I don't know. Like, it depends circumstance to circumstance, but in a 25-kilometer run, I'm actually going to use those little breaks at the red light as breaks, so that I don't have to just sit down, or not sit down, so I don't collapse and have to take a break. I am going to get back to work, and tonight I'm taking myself out for dinner. I am getting tired. My feet are in pain. I did bleed, actually. My toe bled. I did cut my nails right before the run, and they also weren't that sharp anyway, but still, because they're squished together and then they swell, so they're even more squished together, the toes, one nail cut into the other toe, and that toe just cut and bled. So that was fun to see when I took my socks off, but I didn't feel it, and I still don't feel it now. It's tiny. Back to work, and I'll see you tomorrow. Oh, thank you.
Who are you taking a photo of?
My food. Hello, happy Saturday. It is almost time to rest for the week. I've almost finished my training. I've got one more session to do, which is my swim. So I'm going to do a 1.7-kilometer swim. So it's just a zone 2 chill kind of session, and then I'll be done for the week, chill out, nothing to do tomorrow. So you won't see anything tomorrow, but yes, I'm going to fill up some electrolytes to take. What's that? Oh. So yeah, it's been a big week of training. I will put all my final stats on the screen of, how many kilometers and whatever I've done after I've done this. But yeah, this week's training is almost complete, and then I'll just be resting, recovering. I'll do my sauna after my swim today as well. And another thing that is within my training block that I haven't spoken about earlier is that I have 2 full rest days. At least one of those rest days is typically still a big day at work, so I'm still active. I'm still probably getting 10 to 16 or more thousand steps, plus obviously with work at the gym. Like for this week, for example, I think I took 7 classes, something like that. So you're still and you're setting up, packing away weights, whatever. So it's still a relatively active job. Plus whatever else I choose to do within the day. So it's an active rest day, I suppose, but still very much a rest day in comparison to whatever else I do with my training. And then Sunday, so that was a Wednesday this week, and Sunday will be my next rest day. So that does mean that pretty much every day is a double session day, but it works for me because then I'd rather do that than train 6 days a week and only have 1 day recovery. This way, if I need to push something back, and for some reason I can't get a session done on my second session for the day or whatever, then worst case scenario, I do push it to a rest day and only have 1 that week. But that hasn't had to happen yet, and I hope that it doesn't. We'll see. And another thing I wanted to say about my whole training and how it's been different to last time, and if you watched my last video about how I didn't get to do my marathon, like I failed my marathon essentially, is my mental state and how I've maintained a healthier mental state this time and remain stronger. And a big thing for me for my entire life anyway, but especially now, is just journaling consistently. It doesn't have to be every day, but you know, 3, 4, 5, maybe up to 7 times a week. Just every couple of days at the minimum, I journal to, you know, ground myself. And that's the biggest thing, is just not to let this stuff get to my head. And also just, I've become better at not comparing myself, and I can still appreciate other people's performance and their like wins and everything without it making it mean that I'm not good enough or something. Yeah, and it's something that I have to consistently like remind myself of. It's not like second nature all the time now. Depends, you know, on my emotional state at the time, but for the most part I've been, you know, so much better. And also the pressure that I put on myself for long runs, like I've just gotten better at that, and like talking to myself so that I don't just make this the only thing in my life, which is being the other thing, is that like just not to completely fixate and be overconsumed or consumed by this one thing. Like have other hobbies, have other things to do, have other things to care about and invest my time into, so that my run isn't the biggest and only thing I care about within my day. So that helps. And with that, it is the end of the video. I'm gonna go do my swim now. Obviously can't film myself there, but I'm gonna do it, and I'll put all the stats on the screen after this for the week, and I will see you in the next video whenever and whatever that will be. Have a good day.